here's Brody Brazil.
Well, you don't even really need me to tell you this, and I'm just stating the obvious, but things are looking so bad and so difficult right now for the future of Major League Baseball, either in Tampa or in St. Petersburg. And all of this is such a sharp contrast from where most people thought the process was 5 or 6 months ago. Everybody thought this new stadium deal for the Rays was all set, it was all wrapped up, it had the initial approvals, the Rays were starting to fund this. They needed the ultimate bond votes, which we're just getting to now, down the road, but it seemed like all of that was taken care of because the initial approvals were there, the renderings were there, the Rays came out with the slogan, "Here to stay." But now here we are actually getting to the final votes, and most of them are being delayed. And in the case of Tropicana Field, repairing it after Hurricane Milton, just today, the city of St. Petersburg initially had a vote 4-3 to approve $23 million yes to go ahead and put a new roof on Tropicana Field. And then within the hour, they walked back that vote. That's right. So at this very moment, we've got a Tampa Bay Rays team that's trying to get a new ballpark. That's not happening because of votes. In fact, the Rays have said that proposal now is off the table because of the 2-month delay. It's crazy that a 2-month delay could entirely kill a project. We've got some conversation on that to happen in just a second. But the new ballpark stuck in the mud, and the old active ballpark, well, inactive ballpark right now, Tropicana Field, is stuck with no roof. I said before that the Rays were about to jump on a bridge, like in playing at Steinbrenner Field for 2025 as their temporary home, but the bridge wasn't built out to the other side yet. They're now getting on a bridge where they can't go back in reverse and they can't go forward because it's not built out yet. They're stuck on a bridge that doesn't connect to anything on either side. I guess that's an island if I'm defining it that way. Let me just explain all of this and go back to Pinellas County. We'll start there first. The new stadium, it needs kind of a final vote for a bond to be floated of $312 million or so that groundbreaking would have happened and occurred in January of 2025. That vote was initially supposed to take place right after Hurricane Milton passed through Florida. The commissioners of Pinellas County decided that they just weren't ready to take that vote yet. Understandable, they wanted to move it to November. Well, they decided a couple days ago in November to move it until even later and not take up that vote yet. So that made the Rays very frustrated, antsy. They came back to say that if this doesn't happen here and now, we're off our timelines. This is going to cost us more. We can't afford to pay for this, which is kind of incredible, right? That there were no backup plans, no plans for things going off the rails or costing more. It just seems like something you'd want to build into such imperative, such detailed plans if you're the Rays. And by the way, Pinellas County Commission Vice Chair Brian Scott, after they voted to not vote on this the other day, not approve the $312 million in bonds, Commission Vice Chair Brian Scott was very pointed. There's a video of it here on my channel, very pointed towards the Rays to say that it's the way they've been operating behind the scenes that is probably the result of the way that this vote went, and ultimately the vote by the city of St. Petersburg to not repair the roof at Tropicana Field. Now, again, most people are going to look at the Rays and say, well, poor baseball team. All the votes are going against them. This is a political thing. What the vice chair was saying is that the votes are just a result of the back and forth with the team. And so I'm not here to point any fingers yet. I think time will tell, maybe give us a clearer vision of where this has gone wrong and what interactions have gone wrong here. But I don't want to make this all about the Rays being unlucky. This might be the way the Rays have not planned this situation out well, or how they're handling it in real time. So now we'll fast forward to the city of St. Petersburg. Again, it's a $57 million repair job to totally fix up Tropicana Field, but they estimated last week that it would take about $23 million to just do the roof alone. And so that's kind of a weird thing that the city of St. Pete decided, you know what, we will move forward with about half that total cost, but we'll do just the amount to fix the roof. It's not weird in a sense that they want to put the roof on, and that's kind of the start. They're also waiting to hear from insurance, and maybe insurance will cover $25 million, and then maybe they're close enough to just make this thing a reality, Tropicana Field a reality again. But it's kind of weird that they didn't go after the entire amount. They went after half the amount. I mean, what if, hypothetically, the city of St. Petersburg covered building the roof back again, but then none of the other repairs were covered for Tropicana Field. Insurance didn't want to cover it. The Rays didn't want to pay for anything. Now you're stuck with a fixed roof, but everything inside the guts of the building still not ready to go and operable for Major League Baseball. So anyway, they vote 4-3 yes to approve that $23 million. They were going to cobble the money from other places in the city. And then within the hour, I didn't even know you could do this, they walked back the vote and made it a 4-3, what I'm assuming a 4-3 at least, no vote against the $23 million and putting the roof back on Tropicana Field. So after all of that, right, you had Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball the other day trying to instill some confidence in the Tampa Bay region and trying to set a tone of patience and that they're willing to wait, they're ready to wait, but they do need some assistance. That's always the way baseball does it. Well, we'll see what they do. Right, but you're part of this too. In fact, you're the main character of this movie. These are just the city and the county are sub-characters. You're the main character of this movie. So in a sense, he's being a little bit reactive instead of proactive at all about this situation. Here's what Manfred said. There's a lot of uncertainty with respect to the situation in Tampa. Much of that uncertainty we just don't control. It's kind of like letting yourself off the hook. He went on to say, we need to let the government officials in Tampa Bay sort out where they are on a variety of issues. Well, there's a lot to get to here, and it's not the issues, it's the proposals that are being put in front of him. It's not the issues, it's the proposals that they're saying yes or no to. I understand the delay, given the kind of damage that they suffered down there, which is a totally appropriate thing. Baseball can't force the issue here in Tampa because of the natural disaster that just happened there and maybe more future natural disasters. They cannot push Florida in terms of politics or locals and say, we need this now after a hurricane just ravaged the place and people lost their homes and businesses and everything else. We're just going to have to wait for some of that uncertainty to resolve itself, Manfred said. He also went on to say, we're committed to the fans in Tampa Bay. I think given all that's happened in that market, we're focused on our franchise in Tampa Bay right now. End quote. May I remind you, that's the same Rob Manfred that about 10 years ago said it would be a mistake if in 10 years we didn't have Major League Baseball in Oakland anymore. So we're at this timing and at this process, and this is how I'll end the video, by saying it's not looking good, obviously, and I'm not ready to throw percentages on this happens, this does happen, this goes this way or that way. This is all such an unbelievable story unfolding in front of us. It's very unpredictable. But what you're seeing is local government on two fronts and on two different projects not helping the Rays. And again, like the commission vice chair Brian Scott said of Pinellas County, maybe it has to do with the Rays behind the scenes and their operations here and the letter that they wrote to the county the other day. Basically, being upfront, but maybe being a little bit too blunt about if you don't pass this, our deal is off the table. You think there has to be some flexibility in all of this, right? I guess that's my main point about the Rays and their approach. If there is no flexibility in what they're offering and what they're trying to get done, how did they expect it to go? Perfectly? Like there would be no natural disaster? Like there would be no political discourse back and forth? Like there would be no ultimate votes, yes or no? It doesn't seem like a prepared plan to come forward and say this is our only way and our only option. But just looking at the entirety of all this, I mean, you can go all the way down the road to potential relocation. And I mean, in a lot of ways, this is going that direction. Because if the city locks you out and the county locks you out, and I understand that would be for a St. Pete site. Everybody's saying, what about the Eber Harbor and Tampa Bay, or Tampa and the Hillsborough County situation? What about just changing cities and changing counties? Would that actually be an idea on the table? And maybe to some degree, maybe the Rays know that they're now playing St. Pete against Tampa a little bit, or they want to open the door again on the Tampa situation and the Eber Harbor situation. I don't believe that has, I know there was a plan for that. I know there was a project for that. I don't think it's got underway yet. So I think that's still a possibility. But the point is, are the Rays going back and forth here between two cities, or are the Rays thinking it's this Tampa Bay region or bust, like we'll go somewhere else, we'll relocate? The fact that the Rays even would bring up the word relocation, the fact that Rob Manfred would say, we're focused on our franchise in Tampa Bay right now. How about say this? We will not move the Rays from the Tampa Bay region. From St. Pete or Tampa, we're keeping them in one of those two spots. We'll figure out a way to get it done. I understand that may not be the most business prudent way to say it, right? If you're having to strike a deal with these local government entities, and maybe that takes away some of the leverage from your team, but I don't know what the Rays are going to do here. They don't have an old stadium to go back to. They're having trouble getting the new stadium sorted out. The new stadium might be more difficult than fixing up the old stadium. I do think there's a way they can get back to Tropicana Field, buy themselves more time. I do not think anybody's going to love playing at Steinbrenner Field for 2025. The attendance, the capacity, the amount of money that the Rays are inevitably going to lose. I know they average 17,000 of attendance, and Steinbrenner Field seats 11, but that's already 6,000 less a game. They also can't get up to 27,000 like they could on certain giveaway nights. So this is going to cost them in a lot of ways. They're going to have 6-7 rainouts a year, play 6-7 extra double headers a year. The travel's not going to be great for those doubleheader opposition teams or the Rays themselves. I mean, this is going to be a headache. Mark my words on this right now. But going back to finishing this video off, I know I rambled there. There's not even a percentage of direction I could even tell you of where this is going to go. There are, at this point, there's too many options and too many different directions this could go. My hope would be that somehow, some way, this team finds a way with their current ownership or different ownership that the fan base doesn't have to lose their team because of a natural disaster and because of some plans set forth that were pretty much flawed from the very start, or didn't give enough wiggle room from the very start. They weren't flexible. All right, that's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. I'd really appreciate that. Helps me, the channel, and the video. Don't forget to also go down there, hit that subscribe button, so I can definitely see you back here next time.